Industrial organization, a strategic approach. 11.4.2, a simple address model, hoteling, linear city. This is by Church and Ware. In this section, we consider and analyze a very simple address model based on the seminal work of Hoteling, 1929. Suppose that prices are fixed exogenously and equal to 1. Moreover, products are differentiated only in a single dimension and the unit interval between 0 and 1. Consumers' tastes are uniformly distributed as prices are fixed and equal. Utility maximizing consumers will purchase the product with the smallest transportation cost. They will purchase from the firm whose location is closest to theirs. Consumers' tastes are distributed uniformly. Competition over location with a fixed number of firms. Suppose initially there's a fixed number of firms equal to capital N. Assume that marginal production costs for C for all products and less than price P. Since we have fixed prices, competition between firms will be over locations or product specification. Our objective is to identify the equilibrium set of locations or products. Again, theoretic interpretation is that firms simultaneously select their location, and our task is to find the Nash equilibrium in locations. Alternatively, we could assume that firms enter sequentially and they can costlessly relocate. We then look for the set of locations such that firms do not have an incentive to relocate given the locations of their rivals. Sets of locations that meet this criterion will be the same as the Nash equilibria to the simultaneous location game. The profits of firm I are simply pi sub I equals open parentheses P minus C close parentheses capital M L sub I, where L sub I is the market length or interval served by firm I. The market interval of I is the length of the line segment defined by consumers who purchase from firm I. Since M is the density of consumers, capital M, L sub I is total sales of firm I. Given that prices are fixed and greater than the marginal cost of production, firms maximize their profits by maximizing sales. Maximizing sales requires that firms maximize their market lengths. Suppose that firm I is located at theta sub I in figure 16 and figure 11.6. Its two nearest competitors are located at theta sub I minus 1 and theta sub I plus 1. Firm I is an interior firm since its market on either side is limited by the presence of competitors. Let X be the location of the consumer between firm I and I minus 1, who is just indifferent between the two firms. This means that she is equally as far away from firm I as she is from firm I minus 1. All consumers in the interval between X and theta sub I will strictly prefer the product of firm I to that of I minus 1. The figure 11.6 is a linear address model. It is ranked from 0 to 1, and the markings are from 0 to 1 there's 0, and then theta i's minus 1, and then x, where x minus theta sub I minus 1 equals theta sub I minus x. And then there is theta sub I, and then there's y, and y minus theta sub I equals theta sub I plus 1 minus y. And then there is theta sub I plus 1, and then we get to 1. The address of the marginal consumer, x, is defined by x minus theta sub I minus 1 equals theta sub I minus x, 11.6, or x equals theta sub I plus theta sub I minus 1 over 2, 11.7. As expected, x is half of the distance between firm I and I minus 1. Similarly, if y defines the location of the consumer between firm I and I plus 1, who is just indifferent between the products of I and I plus 1, then L sub I equals x plus y, or L sub I equals theta sub I plus 1 plus theta sub I minus 1 over 2, 11.8. Regardless of where firm I is located between firms I minus 1 and I plus 1, its market length or interval is equal to half the distance between the nearest competitors on either side. The number of consumers gained to the right from moving toward theta sub I plus 1 equals the number lost to the firm and theta sub I minus 1 on the left. In figure 11.6, firm I minus 1 and I plus 1 are peripheral firms. The boundary of their market segment to one side is determined not by competition with another firm, but by the end of the market. The market length of firm I minus 1 to its left equals theta sub I minus 1, while its interval on the right is of length, open parentheses, theta sub I minus theta sub I minus 1, close parentheses, over 2, halfway between it and its right-hand side competitor I. The entire market length of firm I minus 1 is the sum of its left-hand side and right-hand side intervals. L sub I minus 1 equals theta sub I minus 1 plus theta sub I minus theta sub I minus 1 over 2 equals theta sub I plus theta sub I minus 1 over 2, 11.9, which is increasing in theta sub I minus 1. The market share or length of a peripheral firm increases as it moves closer to its interior competitor. It gains sales in the interior without losing sales on the periphery. Define a firm's half market length by its market length on one side. If locations are chosen simultaneously, two conditions must be satisfied for a Nash equilibrium in location. No firm's market length is less than any other firm's half market length. 2. We just read number 1. Number 2. The two peripheral firms must be paired. The peripheral firms must be adjacent to an interior firm. Why are these conditions necessary for an equilibrium? Consider figures 11.7 and 11.8. In figure 11.7, firms 1 and 2 are adjacent at 0.25 and firms 3 and 4 are adjacent at 0.8. However, firm 4's whole market length of 0.2, which equals its half market length to the right, is less than half the market length to the right of firm 2 or the left of firm 3. Firm 2 and 3 split the interior of the market, each with a half market length of 0.275. Firm 4 has an incentive to deviate. It can capture all of firm 3's market by leapfrogging and locating just adjacent to the left of firm 3. Similarly, firm 1 has an incentive to deviate and locate just adjacent and interior to either firm 2 or 3. Its market length would be 0.275, which is greater than its existing market length of 0.25. Any firm whose entire market length is less than the half market length of another can locate just adjacent to the other and capture its larger half market length. Figure 11.7, whole market length less than half market length. We have another horizontal bar from 0 to 1 with a line at 0.25. On the left side of that line is theta sub 1. On the right side of that line is theta sub 2. We continue on the horizontal line from 0 to 1, and we have a line at 0.80. On the left side of 0.80 is theta sub 3. On the right side is theta sub 4. Then we get to 1. Figure 11.8, unpaired peripheral firms. Again, we have the horizontal line from 0 to 1. We have a line at 0.25, which is marked theta sub 1, and a line at 0.75 at theta sub 2, and then 1. Figure 11.9, two firms. From 0 to 1, in the middle at 0.5, left side theta sub 1, right side theta sub 2. And figure 11.10, four firms from 0 to 1, one at 0.25, left side theta sub 1, right side theta sub 2, another line at 0.75, left side theta sub 3, theta sub 4. In figure 11.8, firms 1 and 2 are located at 0.25 and 0.75, and they both serve half of the market. The largest half market length of either firm is 0.25, so the first condition is satisfied. However, either firm could increase its profits by moving closer to the other. Indeed, firm 1, by locating just adjacent and interior to firm 2 at 0.75, could capture 3/4 of the market, as was indicated by 11.9. The market length of the peripheral firm is increasing as it moves towards its interior competitor. It retains all of its peripheral consumers and gains consumers in the interior that are now closer to it than its interior competitor. The equilibrium locations when there are 2 and 4 firms are shown in figures 11.9 and 11.10. The equilibrium when there are 2 firms suggested to hoteling that buyers are confronted everywhere with an excessive sameness. 1929, page 54. The result that 2 firms in either product or geographic space will locate in the middle is often referred to as the principle of minimum differentiation. Boulding, 1966. The principle does not strictly hold when there are more than 2 firms. However, even when there are more than 2 firms, the equilibrium market configuration is characterized by bunching.